as you're describing that, and I was like picturing everything you're talking about.
Yeah.
The reason it takes years to be able to slow down is because not that the pressure is less or that the obstacles are not as difficult or that the fear isn't there. You've just experienced it before. So you're a little bit more comfortable under the pressure and with the fear, because the first few times around, it's really nerve wracking to be under that kind of, and you're like, I gotta go. And then it's when you've seen it before, you're like, okay, we can just take a beat, you know?
Yeah. One of my guys,
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, thank you. One of my guys this morning got so excited because he did a showing or something. The guy pulls up in a Rolls Royce SUV or something. He got so jacked up about it. I'm like, I said, very nice car, but you don't know if he's got it leased and it's going to be repossessed next month. So don't be impressed, you know? Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Zelnik Exchange. I'm your host, Corey Zelnik, and I have the great pleasure now to spend some time with a dear friend of mine, Carrie Bobb, who is a rock star in the retail real estate world, and we're going to talk all about it. Carrie and I, at this point, I can say go way back. We know each other for about 6 or so years. We met each other during the COVID evolution, I guess, or the COVID revolution, maybe even. We have similar interests as it relates to the real estate and retail world. We both raised families. We're very excited. We became great friends virtually. It took us about 2 years to meet in person, and we remain friends to this day. So I welcome to the show, Carrie Bobb. How are you, Carrie?
Thank you so much for having me. And I just have to tell your listeners, like, just what a ride or die friend you are. Not just like someone that I look up to and respect so much in the industry, but just all the things that people never see, where I call you, go, oh my gosh, Corey, what am I going to do? And you're like, I got you. And you hold, and I know I'm not the only one that you do that for, that you hold a lot of people's hands through dark moments, and you're just a dear, dear friend. I'm so happy to be here.
I appreciate the kind words. And it's my pleasure, because, you know, if one thing's for certain, you know, you're good people, and I think I'm good people, and that's why we get along so well. So on the business side of this conversation, Carrie Bobb and Company, it's back in action. We're back. That's what they said that at Madison Square Garden for some reason with the Knicks a couple of years ago. They started saying "we back." I don't know where it came from or why, but you are back. And let me not forget, we talk a lot about, you and I talk about, everybody talks about, you know, promoting women more in our industry, which there are so many prominent women now. But the reality is, and I don't know the percentages, you're still on the very low percentile, you know, versus men in the industry. But you are part of that group that are you're rock star real estate people who happen to be women, but you and your team and you know, you've done so much work, you know, on behalf of women in the industry, which is tremendous. It's a great credit to you. You've been Woman of the Year in various publications. You're a top retailer influencer. I think these are all things that are certainly well deserved, but I think it's a great thing that you do. And your current story, because you have a great story, you have a great history in the business, but your current story is that Carrie Bobb and Company had maybe merged or what have you with another organization. You'll walk us through that. And now you have subsequently, and I believe in a very friendly manner, gone your separate ways, and Carrie Bobb and Company is back in action. So walk us through it a little bit.
Yeah, so thank you so much. So I started my career and everything in San Diego, and then in 2022, we moved to Nashville. So that whole journey of like starting over in a big life disruption, that has been super interesting in really great ways. It's been hard in other ways. And so I've had a lot of calls of people asking about transition or how you reinvent yourself and transitions. We can talk about that. I was at CBRE for 16 years, then started Carrie Bobb & Co. and hellojenny. After moving to Nashville, Foundry acquired hellojenny. Anybody that was going to acquire hellojenny, I had to come over and do brokerage. And so I'm really grateful for that experience. I'm grateful for Foundry. And my contract was up in December, and Carrie Bobb Co. is back. So it's been great. So I'm working in Nashville and in California, a little bit in Tampa. And I've just really enjoyed learning different markets, working with new people, working with old friends. And that is something when you move markets or make a big move, it's really scary. And it's hard to see like the next step in front of you, but it does open you up to opportunities and to do things that you never would have been able to do if you hadn't made that move. So that's been really fun and interesting.
That's exciting. Let's just break it down a little bit. Give a little color on what hellojenny is.
So hellojenny is a social media company for commercial real estate, for landlords primarily. And we started in retail and then have merged into residential, senior housing, like all different product types. And that really came out of what we had done in the digital army through COVID, when all of us kind of just rallied together of like figuring out social. And then Asana was my first client. And I was like, I think you can actually use social to drive revenue. Would you let us test it out? So big shout out to Claire Walsh. Every time I see her, I'm like, thank you. We would have been here without you. And she's in Manhattan now too.
Oh, is she?
And yes, if you guys don't know each other, I have to make an introduction because she's great.
Please.
Definitely. So anyway, so they were like, let's give it 3 months. And if it doesn't work, high five and call it a day. Well, that was in about January of 2020. And then we launched hellojenny in January 2020. COVID hit. And we were just kind of in the right place at the right time. Right. I feel like there was no other social media company for commercial real estate that spoke the language. And and the rest is history. It grew so fast, as you know, because I was calling you going, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, right. but talk, I know we're now seasoned veterans in the social media world. That's us. But talk about what hellojenny was doing. You talk about, they hired us to do this. Talk about what it was that you were actually doing, with hellojenny. I know what it was about, but talk a little bit about it.
So we started off as true content creators. And my philosophy was, if you have leasing people kind of behind the wheel of the handle, you can actually use property handles to impact leasing, but your leasing efforts are only as good as your marketing materials, right? And so if you have a really crappy brochure or bad images and bad copy on a leasing brochure, it makes it really hard to connect with some of the higher profile brands. And it's the same thing with social. And back then, landlords didn't care about social, and they weren't investing in content. And so you would have these amazing properties where their social media handle was being done by like an intern who didn't understand commercial real estate and really wasn't even invested in social media. It was just kind of this thing they felt like they had to do, if they had handles at all at the time. And so we started as content creation and then morphed into, okay, now if you have good content, now you can actually reach out to brands through the handle. And if you need coffee shops or smoothie places or whatever, that your social media manager can direct message them. And then if there was interest, which happened often, we would just send an email to either the in-house person or the broker. And we were kind of like a conduit between the digital marketplace and the leasing team. And it was fun. It was great. There's a great story of Lauren Grulich, who, her last name's not Grulich anymore. She just got married, but she was working for hellojenny, just doing direct messaging. Okay. And then Shopcore, she was sending them so many leads that Shopcore brought her in-house to be their in-house leasing person. So to me, that was like, it blew my mind that a social media person could start where like you and I started as like runners back in the day.
Yeah, right.
And now people are getting into like as quality of a institutional landlord is shop for.
And I think that, well, I think one, that's a tremendous compliment to you, right? It was your, it was this idea, this creation, and you had your participants. It's sort of, right? It's almost like seeing one of your children grow up and
yes, I did feel that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a credit to Shopcore to see it, right? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the institutions, even as we speak today, still don't get it. And so, mm-hmm. Good for them too. So that's a big win sort of all around, but it's kudos to you and getting it implemented and showing the way. That's big. That's very big.
Well, you get it. I mean, you've had to, how do your clients respond to your social media and how you're putting yourself out there?
I think that we're finding it more with some of the locals. They get a kick out of it a little bit. New York City on the whole, I would say still New York City real estate on the whole still doesn't get it. I think that a lot of it is, we have a huge domination, of the big companies, the CBREs, the JLLs, the Cushmans, all that guy, so they lock their people in. So the only, when you see them for the most part, it's a LinkedIn post on a deal. It's right. Basically just a press release, and they all have trouble getting a sign off to do something. I've asked several guys at the big companies to come do this show with me, and they can't get a sign off to do it.
Oh,
it's crazy.
That's super
and so that's one. Two, there's a very, and it continues to this day, hardcore, old school, that's not how you do it, and that's not how you do it / what the fuck are you doing kind of mentality with it. I wouldn't say there is an uprising, but there is a lot of youth that has found its way into the business. So they're utilizing it, more and better, but there's still a little bit of a, weirdness about it with the bigger companies, and certainly with the people that have been around for a long time. Some of my biggest compliments that I get, whether it's at an ICSC or even accidentally on the street. Oh, Corey, I love your podcast. And I know they're not following me, but they're seeing something somewhere, so they're looking. And I remember years ago, our good friend Beth Azor, she had a great word. She called them lurkers. so they're following and looking, but not doing it, nothing online in terms of commentary, which is just fine. So, I still think the city is a little slow to go.
I could see that. I mean, New York would just be really tough in general to break into in this kind of space, I feel like, in that industry. So that makes sense what you're saying. And then are you finding are you doing what you're doing on social and all the different avenues in which you're doing it? Is it more to be relevant and discoverable, or are you actually doing business development through the platforms?
We started with the relevance and being seen and all that stuff. And I get a kick out of it. I enjoy doing the podcast, and I enjoy doing videos, for Instagram and what have you. And we did that with that purpose. We didn't say, okay, we're going to do this stuff, and in 3 months, we need to have done this much business because of it, or in 6 months. Yeah. And then what happened was, and it was a long time coming. It was a long time coming. And it was sort of organically times 10. We finally did get some business through social media, and it's been great. We've got some very interesting assignments that we're working on. We closed a very nice deal that ties back to it. But do I sit and try to, create a formal pipeline based on it? No, but I love having it. It's a great tool. It, maybe sizes us up a little bit, and maybe certainly not to try to fool anybody, but maybe it gives the appearance of something. I often say, to Steph, you don't want to know how the sausage is made kind of thing. And so you're doing
it. Yeah. And a lot of people aren't. And so I think it also conveys that you've like got your act together. Like everyone's busy, everyone's doing deals,
Right.
everyone's doing everything. But if you can do all of that and manage this, it conveys just that you're organized and put together and can.
Right. And it's fun. It's fun. You know, I don't know many people these days, even as a checkoff, you know, if you're introduced to somebody, and I literally did this yesterday, got on the phone with somebody that was introduced to me through a friend. And, you know, I immediately went to their, you know, I Googled them, put them up on my Instagram, put them up on my LinkedIn, and they did the same thing about me. Right. And so we all do that. So it's nice to have, you know, some stuff. It's also, I think it's been, especially since the classic pivot of COVID time,
Right.
which is, at least in my mind, has been about just having some fun along the way. Look, it's serious. We make deals, but we are by no means curing cancer. And we want to go about having some fun and making some money. So why not take that approach to things? And that's what we seem to be doing. And it seems to be working out all right. And quite frankly, and it's not to patronize you at all, because, you know, I'm your biggest fan, but following your lead in those early days was very important to myself and to Steph.
Oh, thank you.
You know, in terms of how we did it, right? I'm glancing over because Steph's here with me, but, you know, never forget Carrie Bobb's pillars, right? We had pillars when we were putting stuff out. So we thought about you, we thought about the process, and again, you know, kudos to you, because not even in a strange way, in a real way, you know, you have been a mentor to us as it relates to this stuff. So it's been great. It's been great.
Well, thank you. And it seems like you're really enjoying it. When you first get it, you and like collective you, when you first kind of get into this space and you're learning about it, it can be so painful trying to figure out and navigate some of the nuances. But it seems like you're genuinely enjoying it. You've got such a great team, and it's fun seeing your team.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my thing is just, you know, I think the other day Lauren and I did a video at one of our properties, and we posted it and what have you. And my daughter just gave me a thumbs up. Normally I get like a comment like, "Oh, that's cringe, Dad," you know, like, so, which is also right.
It's like a big win.
Right, so which is also a compliment, but it was very positive. But yeah, no, we're having some fun doing it, and
that's amazing.
It's good. It's good. So let's go. You're not interviewing me. I'm interviewing you. So tell me. So let's get back. So now you break out and you're back on your own. Is it what is it? Is it 2 months, 3 months at this point? Has it been the start of the year?
Yeah, like mid-January.
Okay. So here you are.
February. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going on? Yeah. What's the same? What's different? Are you approaching things any differently now?
Yes. There's a lot that's the same, and that just has to do with my clients, which I'm so grateful for, and just relationships I've had for a long time. And so they're kind of like my grounding force. It's easier to I did it once before, and it's easier in some respects having to relaunch or do it again, because I feel like I've carved those neural pathways in my brain. So it's like, okay, this is where we're going. It's stressful and scary and all of that, but I feel like the first time around, anxiety was much higher, and I felt like I had to spend more money. One of the biggest mistakes I think I made the first time around was, okay, if I spend money or invest in this, I'm going to get the money back. And sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. And this time around, I'm going at a slower pace of growth. Like, I don't need to bring on a ton of people. I don't need to invest in everything. I am investing a lot in technology just to make sure I have all the data and all of that kind of stuff. And then not putting as much pressure on myself to try and go bigger, faster.
Sure.
I'm trying to enjoy it a little bit more, and it's been good. And then I have moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But for the most part, everything's kind of the same as it relates to the day-to-day work. And then there's just the after hours work that you have to do in the business. But it's one of those things where I'm so excited to be in control again that I don't mind doing it. Like, I'm excited to do all of the back of house
That's
stuff.
great. How is anybody with you at this point now that you redid it? Did someone come along with you or come back with you? Or
So Tara was my marketing in-house at Foundry, and she's phenomenal. Foundry does marketing really, really well. And Tara had left a year before me to start her own marketing company. And so she's doing all of my marketing and help. And she kind of knew how I ran my business, and that's been helpful. And then I'm waiting for a couple other pieces of business to tip.
All right.
And then I would like to bring somebody on, but I'm not necessarily rushing into that like I would have before. But it's great. I will add people as I go. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, I'm sure you can appreciate this, resting into it a little bit more and relaxing and letting see where it all goes rather than feeling like the structure of you've got to do it this way. Mm-hmm. You know, both is good, but leaning into it a little bit more.
Yeah, no, you actually in the early part of that little piece there, you alluded to something that I often use with the guys that, you know, the people that work with me in terms of the approach. Now that you alluded to it in your second time around, right? Is that you slow things down. And I use this, you know, I use it as a sport, you know, from a sports metaphor, because Michael Jordan used to talk about it. Great quarterbacks used to talk about it. And they say, slow the game down, see the field.
Oh, I love that so much.
Slow the game down and see everything. And mm-hmm. Michael Jordan obviously was the greatest of all, you know, arguably the greatest of all time. And he would talk about how he slowed the game down, right? Obviously he was running as fast as possible, but mentally he slowed it down and had a vision for most everything. And the way a quarterback, and I know you got some football kids in your family, right? The quarterback comes back with the ball, but the great quarterback slows everything down and sees each option. And it's very much about our business, and especially on the brokerage side, right? We only make money on commissions. The younger brokers especially are anxious. Mm-hmm. We've all been there. We get it. Yep. And it's one thing to educate them on clauses, but it's as important to educate them on the process and the mentality behind it.
No, I love that analogy so much. And I think it's, as you're describing that, and I was like picturing everything you're talking about.
Yeah.
The reason it takes years to be able to slow down is because not that the pressure is less or that the obstacles are not as difficult mm-hmm. or that the fear isn't there. You've just experienced it before. So you're a little bit more comfortable under the pressure and with the fear, because the first few times around, it's really nerve wracking to be under that kind of, and you're like, I gotta go. And then it's when you've seen it before, you're like, okay, we can just take a beat, you know?
Yeah. One of my guys,
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, thank you. One of my guys this morning got so excited because he had a showing or something. The guy pulls up in a Rolls Royce SUV or something. He got so jacked up about it. I'm like, very nice. I said, very nice car, but you don't know if he's got it leased and it's going to be repossessed next month. Don't be impressed, you know. No,
kind of, that's usually, New York is different, but that's usually kind of like how it goes. The flashier
I know
you are,
but like when they're 23, 24 years old, you know, I get it.
Well, that's the allure to this business too.
What's that?
That's the allure.
Oh, of course. Every you know, you don't walk into a meeting where like every guy naturally looks at the other guy's wrist to see what the watch looks like, right? It's like automatic, but whatever. Tell me what's going on. I read every single day. Tell me about some Nashville retail real estate. Every day there's something. I feel like there's something written about that place.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
And it's not slowing down. Like Nashville is going to continue on the trajectory that it's on for a few different reasons. There's so much capital coming in here. I mean, the no taxes is a real big thing. And so you can be downtown and in the thick of things, and it feels like a really great downtown. And then you can go 10 miles and you're in a really peaceful, calm place. And it's a little bit like Mayberry. I've got to tell you this story. So I'm going to get my business license for Carrie Bobb & Co. in the city of Brentwood. So we live in Brentwood. And so I go down to the city offices and walk in, and because I've applied online and I'm not really getting anywhere. So I walk in and there's a woman at the front desk and she's like, "Hi, honey, how can I help you?" And I tell her what I'm looking for. She's like, "Oh, you need to talk to Jackson. Hold on one second." And she goes in the back and Jackson comes out. And I go, I feel like my permit is stuck in no man's land. Right. And he's like, "Oh, give me a second." And he goes back wherever. And then I get an email while I'm sitting there that I've been approved and it's done. And they're like, "Oh, you need to go talk to Amy." She's like 3 doors down and pay the $15. Like, I went home and told Matt, I was like, "We live in Mayberry. This is just like the sweetest little town." Yeah. And, it's 10 miles from downtown Nashville. So I don't know. That's what I think, that lifestyle allure is attracting some of the business leaders that are moving their companies here. Yeah. And then, it's states like New York and California that are helping,
I know,
the Tennessees and Texas and all of that. So we're seeing a lot of the California companies moving here, and the projects that are coming out of the ground or scheduled are pretty amazing. It's really, really cool what's happening.
Yeah. Tell me about anything you're looking at, working on.
Well, I think the big one is, Nissan Stadium, the Titan Stadium is being redeveloped. The hopes of having a Super Bowl in 29 or 30 is the pressure. And then Fallon has a really great project, the East Point surrounding the stadium, which is really cool. AJ Capital is changing some of the fabric of Nashville. So Wedgwood, Houston is a little pocket where it's just south of downtown, and they're using the meatpacking district I'm assuming they are, because it's coming across very much. They've got Soho House and Pastis and Hermes and all of that. And it's an opportunity zone where they just made it look like it's been there forever like this. And so they're doing that. They're doing a Belmead project, which is really cool. And there's just a lot of really interesting things happening. And
they're doing it at all, from a retail perspective, at all levels. Do you have, luxury, sort of what I call mainstream? How are they breaking that up? Is it, because I know there's a lot of, because of the inflow of people that are escaping New York and California. It's not just the money, right? It's the business, but the people that are escaping. Are they catering to a particular demographic? Are they across the board? Are they covering everything?
It's a little fragmented. Okay. There's little pockets throughout town that you're seeing pop up, but there's not a ton of critical mass. Okay. There's a couple projects in Franklin that are putting together some of those like outdoor lifestyle projects that are really coming together. Arium is one that I'm working on at Carruthers and McEwen. We've really got some great traction with great brands, but more towards the city. AJ Capital's pulling some really great brands together that are all luxury. And then you've got a 12 South run, which is kind of like an Abbott Kinney or South Congress in Austin, but it's limited in just geography. It's a small little run, and then you've got neighborhoods around it. So it's not like you can add GLA to it. So that's been interesting to see how that's happening. And I'm sure you've seen it a bunch where rents are starting to get, like on that little 12 South, they're like $135 a foot, which is a lot for Nashville, especially the last 5 to 7 years. Mm-hmm. And so we're seeing some of the local tenants start to get squeezed out in more national brands. So that's happening. And they're having to land in other little submarkets or things like that. So there's really good retail. There's great like power centers and things like that, but it is a little bit more fragmented than some other larger cities.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I'm sorry.
The sales coming out of Nashville are crazy. So like downtown where some of the honky tonks are and things like that, there are multiple honky tonks like doing over 60 million,
Oh
like
my God.
individually.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's, I say that like, that's what I've heard, you know, I don't, but the volumes that are coming out of this city are
No, that's great.
legit.
It's very exciting. I mean, the way you were describing some of the areas and some of the streets, at least from a New York perspective, made me think of like of being out east. Like there's a Southampton has their street, and East Hampton has their street, and they hit it in the high end and what have you with certain limitations because you're surrounded by residents. But it sounds fabulous. But it certainly sounds opportunistic. Building around the state, building a stadium, building around the stadiums, right? I mean, that the way the leagues, you know, mostly football, but even, you know, baseball and such, that became an industry, right? Because they were just not, they were no longer just rebuilding the stadium. They were rebuilding a world. And so it became the stadium and the hotel that's attached to it. And then the retail that's attached to the hotel that's attached to the stadium. We have what we have going on here. We're going to have, out by where the Mets play baseball at Citi Field, they just won the bidding for the casino, and that's gonna, you know, it's all it's all going to be attached and be a world within itself.
Yeah,
God only knows what the traffic's going to be like, but who knows?
Well, I think the sports and entertainment development is a whole new genre that, you know, 10, 15 years ago, these outdoor lifestyle mixed use, like kind of like the new outdoor malls, remember when those were like the hottest thing that everyone wanted to experience. There's still a market for that, and that's still happening. But the sports and entertainment, there's so much capital being poured into these markets and these teams. And I think we're starting to see it at all levels, you know, of course, all the professional sports, but then NIL money is just changing college sports. Nick Saban was in DC lobbying, talking about how the fabric of college sports is just different now. So I think high school sports could become what college used to be. And then you're seeing youth sports take on like the capital into like soccer clubs and like 20 baseball fields. Or, I mean, I go to my daughter's volleyball tournament and I didn't even know there were this many girls like in this zip code. And there's just like thousands of 13-year-old girls playing. So it's bananas how it's changing. Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, if you think back, like when you and I started in the business many years ago, you know, you think about a power center, right? You'd have a Walmart anchor and then you'll build around it. Now you build a stadium and you work around it, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. That whole evolution, it's fabulous. You know, I know that when we get together, you and I could probably talk for hours. But the podcast police put me on some limitations. I love you dearly. You know that. I'm so grateful for your time. I love speaking with you. And I know we'll catch up together one of these days. I don't know when, but we'll talk again. But as far as this podcast goes, I love hearing your story. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. There's going to be great success. I know it for Carrie Bobb and Company. And thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again real soon. Thank you, Corey. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.